Hello, thank you for clicking on this channel. Today we're going to be discussing how I was able to lose fat and life became better because ultimately it did. I was able to attract women, I was able to have confidence in myself and actually live a life that I actually like to enjoy. And I'm here to tell you how you're able to do the same. So, why you should listen to me? Well, I was able to lose over 100 pounds since 2023 and I finally have a protocol that actually worked for me. I've lost 55 pounds of fat in less than 6 months. And now I'm actually building muscle. My promise to you is ultimately just walking you through everything that actually worked for me because there's a lot of contradiction things a way of losing fat. You hear people tell you to do this instead of doing that. But I'm here to tell you the things that genuinely felt a difference on the first night. Who am I? Well, my name is Roy, and I'm currently helping out Hispanic men to lose fat. I'm basically learning out loud as long as I go on my journey. I've been doing this for 3+ years, and I'm using what's really helpful and really letting go of the rest. So subscribe to this channel if you really want these guides to pop up at your homepage instead of the suboptimal ways about losing fat. And just a quick plug, guys, if you want to be able to lose weight faster, click on the link in the description down below. No pressure though, just something if you're interested in. We're gonna get into five main things that actually really did help me to be able to lose the fat and actually became a better person in the real life. Which is going to be identity, it's going to be exercising, it's going to be controlling insulin, and it's going to be sleep maxing and making it fun. Of course. We're going to discuss about identity now. So here we go. You right now are holding an outdated image that can create self-sabotaging, right? This is going to be you seeing yourself as a fat person. This is who you see yourself as. And you may not believe it, but ultimately it's creating the self-sabotaging attacks by binge eating pizza, staying up late past the moon, drinking alcohol, these are the things that are keeping you silently self-sabotaging, as well as keeping that identity of you being fat. But you right now are clicking on this video because you are technically transitioning into the new identity, which is really good. So that being said, we need to make sure that you see yourself as a fit person. This fit person that you have needs to be very clear because change takes effort. And obviously, our brains like to seek comfort and ultimately only be pleasurable and pleasurable things, if that makes sense. When we are transitioning into the new person, change takes daily effort. The little habits that you're going to be doing, the break beliefs that you're going to be having to have to do, and the the routines that you already gotten accustomed to, we need to be seeing yourself as a stronger person, a stronger, fitter person. You need to be seeing yourself as this guy. This is going to be the things where you use affirmations, have visualizations, and have accountability. What I mean by kind words is like saying that you're going to be X weight, I'm an athlete, or I am fit. A clear vision would be visualization. Spend about 1 minute to 3 minutes of you just feeling body. Like, even though it feels weird that you're touching your, groping your body, but you need to have a visualization. Oh, I'm gonna have sleeves that are gonna be tighter. I'm gonna have a six pack and I'm gonna feel my abs in my stomach. I'm gonna feel my legs and they're gonna be freaking logs. There's gonna be muscle there. You need to keep doing that because your brain and nervous system doesn't really know what's true or not. It just ultimately seeks for comfort and tries to make you surviving. You need to start visualizing how you see yourself as that fitted person. And we're gonna go back to accountability. This is gonna be eating like this is gonna be like habit trackers or having a wallpaper and or having a poster to keep you updated of that image. Because if you are solely eating that cheeseburger and you pull up your phone and you see a ripped body, you're more likely not going to eat that cheeseburger because you're keeping yourself accountable for you to be able to lose the weight. Let me ask you something. How does a fit person act right now? Let's make a description of a fat person and a fit person. I always love doing this because it makes it fully understandable. If I wanted to become fat, what do I have to do? Okay, well, I don't think I have to exercise, so no exercising. Eat junk food, sleep late, no water, drinks maybe. You get the idea. These are the things, the habits that typically make a fat person. Now, let me tell you this. What does a fit person do? And you have the idea of what a fit person does. You have the image in your mind right now as we speak. You need to be able to see what that person does. For my description, I think they, of course, they exercise. They prioritize sleep, eat healthy. They drink water, do cardio. You see, this stuff are going to be the habits that you need to do to get you into that mindset as well as that new person. Like I said, you previously see yourself as a fat person. You know, this is how you see yourself because this is what you're portraying amongst the world. But the universe could tell you you could turn into this guy, but you need to be doing the habits. But you need to be doing the habits first to be this one guy. You right now are technically in the transitioning of becoming this man. He's half fat and half fit, which is a good sign because that means you're making progress to this one guy. If you accumulate the habits that you are going to do and see yourself as this person, you're more likely going to be able to achieve this physique in a much easier and much faster way than trying to see what's the latest thing on weight loss. I hate this idea where when I was on the weight loss journey, which I never knew that even existed, and then I also did cardio nonstop. But do you think this is the person who I want to become, eating 1,500 calories a day and doing cardio 1 hour a day? Do you think I want to do that and only eat broccoli and cheese sticks? Of course not. But these are the habits of a person that I'd never wanted to become. You need to be finding things that you enjoy doing that are also accumulate to the certain amount of that weight loss. Because I had a moment where I wanted to lose 10 pounds in 1 week. If you're into really into weight loss, you've probably looked up the military diet. I personally fucking hate this diet because it makes no fucking sense. You're essentially starving yourself and actually making it way more harder for you to be able to lose the fat. They tell you to eat a cracker a day and some cheese sticks, right? And then some broccoli. I remember this one time where literally I was eating this fucking meal and my family was eating tinga and I was just so pressed that I couldn't be able to eat that. So I gave up on the diet because it was essentially a crash fucking diet, which led me to ultimately give up on this diet and just forget about it. I was able to make some progress, but it was more likely starvation than anything else. So do the habits that you visualized, things that you saw in your mind as you re-speak in this video. Next is going to be exercising. I'm telling you right now that cardio alone won't get you there. I've done the 1 mile run every single day, and it ultimately was painful. My first real run, I was wheezing and out of breath within less than a half a mile, which is terrible. You have to start thinking this cardio as more of a supplement than anything else. What I mean by supplement, I think of it like it's an add-on, if that makes sense. You see the gym influencers, telling you to take pre-workout, energy drinks. Those are like add-ons. That's the same thing with cardio. Cardio isn't supposed to be a main exercise. It's more likely a add-on. So if you start adding on cardio, it equals to calorie deficit, which will means you will start losing weight. Exactly. Weight. You need to be realizing you need to be realizing that choosing activities that you actually enjoy. This could be weightlifting. You can do light cardio if you don't like to just run every single mile every single day. Kettlebell exercises or calisthenics. Personally, right now, I really like calisthenics and I really like weightlifting. These are my two favorite things. And sometimes, like cardio, then I just do it for a little bit, time to time. But it's not a priority. And you need to be doing a routine that you love. Because a lot of people choose exercises they don't really like to do, and that's why they really give up. You don't have to be on a 90-day plan exercising if you don't want to do that. You don't have to be on this military fucking exercise that you have to do 10, 30 burpees, 200 push ups, and like fucking 500 pull ups. You don't have to do that. If you don't like that, then why the fuck are you shooting yourself in the foot and forcing yourself to do that? You need to check out or buy memberships, like link in the description down below, or grab a membership to the gym to keep yourself growing. You have to also be like willingness to enjoy the pain, like having David Goggins' mindset. You see David Goggins talking about stop being a bitch, just do the work. Stop who's gonna carry the logs, who's gonna carry the boats. This is just a mindset for you to keep pushing yourself harder. Because yes, exercising should be kind of painful, but it's not to the painful where the point where it's not enjoyable. You are enjoying the pain because whenever you exercise a good workout session and you feel the pump, you feel sore, you know that you found yourself as a good workout. You need to be thinking like one training session is one brick to your weight dream. The other thing we're going to be discussing is controlling insulin. Weight loss doesn't really need to feel hard. If you think that you're swimming upstream instead of downstream, you're doing it wrong. You have to think about it as like one tiny, easy habits that could guide you forward. When you are the fat person, you've done the things that habits that you don't really pick up that they're automatic. That will be like buying seconds, eating takeout rather than making your own meals, drinking soda instead of water. These are things that are very less harmful for the day, but in the long term, you eventually will become bigger, bigger, right? One tiny habits could be drinking more water, sleeping in more early, and you could choose fruits instead of candy. These habits need to be downstream, like you're going down a river. Everything is coming down, which means there's momentum because it's like that. It's your identity. It's your habits that you do that are very easy and you're willing to do them. You have right now are three technically hormones, but you need to focus on these two main hormones, which is going to be insulin and leptin, and we will get more into that. When you're into this weight loss journey, you need to be focusing on lowering insulin because weight loss weight loss will be more faster to obtain if insulin isn't spiked all the way. So how do you lower insulin? Well, all you really got to do is just eat a lot of meats and fats. So that's proteins and fats. And then let me ask you this. What are 20 single ingredients that you can eat for the rest of your life? What would they be? Let's get more into the insulin and the leptin. The two hormones you're going to have is insulin and leptin. Whenever you eat carbs, this could be fast carbs, any complex carb with a high GMI, insulin is going to be increasing and leptin is going to be decreasing. When insulin is high, fat gain is only going to be obtained. That is really all it does. Why does this hormone exist? It's because you right now are essentially, technically, we're all animals. I believe a defense mechanism because it doesn't know when you're going to eat next. So it uses that fuel that you eat and store it as fat. And this is where you're going to have a crash. When you have that insulin spike, you're going to have a crash. This crash right here is when insulin is super high. Of course, everything needs to come down. This is when you start getting bloated. Not full, bloated. You feel tired. You feel brain fog. You have a food coma, quote unquote. But ultimately, these are just symptoms of high insulin, which means all of this is going to equal just the fat. So, how do we actually lower insulin? You need to be maximizing animal fat and protein. So, meat and fats. Because with insulin and leptin, when leptin is up, insulin will go down. When leptin's up, that means you're going to feel fuller, not bloated. Again, bloated and fullness are two different things. Bloatness is when you have like that round, like your stomach is like a balloon, if that makes sense. Fullness is just you don't really eat anymore. You just feel like you're fine, right? This fullness still makes you have more energy, better brain clarity, and more energy throughout the day. And like no tiredness as well. When you get in the symptoms of high insulin, when leptin's low, they're technically on and off because you're going to stop eating the carbs and then fullness is going to be like that. But understanding that whenever you're eating carbs and you feel hungry, it's like insulin and leptin are trying to fight over to the top. You feel full but don't want to eat, leptin's talking to you. But you want to eat and start eating more carbs, insulin is talking to you. But typically insulin will always win because it's just a basic thing that you're more likely to lean into that because you kind of have insulin resistance. You can't feel it ultimately to the point where your brain will automatically be like, okay, I need to stop eating. Most people that are skinny or fit, they're insulin sensitive. They could feel this way more stronger for them to be like, okay, no, no more insulin, more leptin. So try to lower insulin. This could be with fats like avocado, butter, nuts, not legumes, some dairy, cheese products, full fat Greek yogurt. These are going to be able to help you to be able to lose the fat quicker because they're going to make you feel fuller, which means you're not going to be eating more, which means you're going to be in a calorie deficit, which means you're going to be losing fat. Other thing is going to be sleep maxing. I'm telling you, sleeping is literally where everything happens. This is where fat gain can either be attained or either fat loss can be lost. Sleeping is where recovering happens. You don't go to the gym to build muscle or lose fat. You're there to tear the muscle. So resting helps stay balanced and feel lighter throughout the day. It makes fat loss much more easier. So aim about 8 to 9 hours of sleep. There are times where I sleep about 9 to 10 hours, and I actually lost 2 pounds, which is crazy. Granted, it might be water weight, but still, 2 pounds in one day, amazing. So here are my tips that helped me to be able to sleep a lot better. This is going to be like Kindle reading. This is going to be like reading a book. And if you don't like reading, you're honestly obsolete in this world. Cool air. This is really good because whenever it starts getting dark, I pull on my AC and I ultimately feel much more easier to fall asleep because it's colder. Your body lowers the temperature. It signals that you need to sleep more. Darker room, blackout curtains. These are the best things you can use when you're going to sleep because you're not shining. Because your brain will start signaling that, oh, it's time to go to sleep because it's really dark. Don't use screen phones 1 hour before bed because I'm being serious. If you don't have either that are glasses that are not blue light sensitive, you're shining all that blue light to your face, and your brain does not understand that it's suppressing melatonin. It makes it even more harder for you to sleep. And then no really late night caffeine. What I've realized is that a lot of people like to abuse caffeine, but you have to understand that if you start abusing the caffeine, you're going to start affecting your sleep. Once a week, twice a week, that's fine, but make sure it's before 12 p.m. and make sure that you're not really like abusing it to the point where you will start having insomnia and not be able to like go to sleep because it does destroy REM sleep, and that's really bad because that's where most of your production of testosterone, building muscle, and losing fat is mostly going to be obtained during that type of cycle. So you need to be activating that cycle a lot more. What I've noticed a lot too is that when people tend to be overweight, they usually don't fall asleep on proper times. They usually sleep around like 12, 1 a.m. for God knows the fucking reason why, I don't know. But usually lack of sleep does affect your mood and does obtain fat because your body is usually running on fumes. And it doesn't know when to sleep. Because technically, when you do the daily activities and you do the eating habits, think of it as a currency that you're using for throughout the day. And your body has a certain amount of requirements for the function for tomorrow. And when you're not letting it use those functions to work for tomorrow, a lot of bad things happen, which is going to be fat gain, anxiety, less energy, less focus, irritation, mental health issues. There's a lot of things that goes into it. You need to be bringing more sleep into bringing fat burn and have more steady energy. Take anything from this place, from this category, sleep is a priority. This is where a lot of people think about, oh, sleeping is gay, sleeping is whack. It's not. Sleeping is one of the most crucial things for you to be able to function properly and actually make you lose fat faster. This isn't the fucking diets. It's not the fucking weight loss. It's not the fucking 1 mile run. The most of the time you're going to be losing fat is when you're sleeping. So that's why prioritizing sleeping is where it's going to be the best place to do. Another thing is making it fun. You're doing a weight loss phase and it's moving into yourself in a new life. I would recommend looking things that excite you and you're honestly removing friction. This could be like workouts that you don't genuinely like. This is doing cables instead of machines. This is doing weightlifting rather than bodylifting. Make sure there's things that excite you. When people think of going to the gym, it's not eating chicken and broccoli, going to the gym 3 times an hour and do a military fucking diet, do cardio, and never feel satisfaction when eating sugars and sweets. No, it's not like that. There are a lot of people who are healthy and they still enjoy those types of meals, but it's not like an everyday habit. They make it feel like a treat rather than like a daily lifestyle. You need to be feeling ready for the gym, ready to feel the cardio, and eating your favorite healthy meals. There's a lot of meals out there. You don't have to be eating the simple. I recommend eating simple because it's so easier for you to get into the branch out for those recipes that are going to get you into the healthy eating. You could also make friends at the gym. It's not that hard. You just have to say, you look great. What is your name? Yo, you look cool. What's your workout plan? It's not that difficult. You just have a lot of social anxiety, but if you just push through that, you will be able to accomplish a lot of things. I made a lot of friends at my gym, and we're to the point where people are fist pumping me and I'm fist pumping them. A lot of people come up to me and disrupt my workout because I talk to them so much. Or you could do the best thing where if you don't have any friends, you can invite your new current friends to the gym. You could tell them, hey, let's work out this place, let's do it. And more likely they're going to do because no one's really going to say, like, I don't want to fucking exercise because everyone knows that if they don't exercise, they're going to be a fat chud and they don't want that. You could also do pick up supplements. This could be like non pre workout, protein powder, creatine, supplements like zinc, vitamin D, stuff like that actually works. You could also go for fresh gym clothes. You could wear compression shirts, you could wear joggers, you could wear newer trainers. It doesn't really matter. Or explore new recipes like you see on Instagram that you want to try, like a sweet potato burger or protein pasta or there's just like shit like that you could do that makes you feel excited for that makes it feel fun because friction is doing stuff that you don't like that makes it having discipline, right? Fun is doing things that you enjoy, which means you need to have more motivation because you chooses what feels fun. So do things that excite you. I really do prioritize this because if you don't, you're gonna have a lot of missed days. You're gonna feel fucking angry. You're gonna just feel like you don't want to do this anymore. But if you do things that excite you and willingness to actually go for it, everything here, weight loss would be so much easier. You will eliminate this weight and become the new version of yourself of that new life. So this is all the stuff that really helped me. That ultimately that made my life a lot better. If you can understand this concept, you will be able to lose weight and have an enjoyable life where you're able to feel confident in your skin and be able to talk to women and feel like you're a priority in the world because a lot of people in the family, with my family, with friends, they're always asking advice, and you could be that person that gives you that advice. So again, if you want to lose weight faster, click on the link in the description down below. Check out this video right here if you want to continue learning more, and also subscribe to the channel and drop down that fork and go lift some weights, brother, and I'll see you soon.